Hey YouTube, I'm back in the land of the living. Well, basically I didn't get out of bed yesterday after my, that's why I snuck out a video from last night. So, slightly out of my comfort zone here. We're on a, it's basically because it's drop tuning. This is my pal Ian's. This is a Schecter Hellraiser. Oh, I was hoping it would have the, often Schecters have the serial number on the back. It just says, you know, something 02, so I know how old it is. So I don't know how old this one is. I'm not really sure what this, oh, there we go, it does. 09, crafted in South Korea. So it's a 2009 guitar. I don't know what this wee Velcro thing is. It was on there, so I've just kind of left it on. I wonder, is it maybe meant to be like a, I don't think I'm using it right, whatever it is. I think there's more to it than that. It's not doing any harm. I think that might be for, you know, you can kind of mute the strings. It makes it easier to do finger tapping. So this one is tuned to drop A, which for me that's basically it's baritone tuning apart from you drop the, so it's like B, E, A, D, F sharp, B, which is the same as my 30-inch scale I assume this is just a 25.5 as per usual. I don't think it, I don't know, I think it's actually maybe a wee bit longer. Yeah, it seems to be slightly longer. Maybe is there a sort of a slightly bigger than 25.5-inch scale? So it's kind of, I suppose, a Les Paul a little bit. Got the quite fancy binding. I think this is just a sticker. I don't think that's an original thing. You can sort of feel it. Actually, it looks pretty good. EMG active pickups. Not sure exactly which ones. 2 volumes and a tone. I think the owner or a previous owner used the volumes more than the tone because the tone's actually, although it looks like exactly the same knob, it's significantly darker than these ones. So I think these ones have been, in fact, I would even say that the neck volume seems a bit darker. So I think they were a bridge pickup person. They're also push pulls for coil splits. I just went straight for the fuzz pedal on full bung for this one. Locking tuners, branded Schecter locking tuners. So the being down tuned doesn't bother me. The low E string does, or in this case it's a low A. I'm gonna have to just sort of ignore that string a little bit. I know you can play chords with one finger. I'm so used to going. It's the wrong note for me. Unfortunately, I strung this before I went away. The guy, my pal Ian, gave me 2 guitars to put into funny tunings. This one and I think it's a Jackson, the other one, and 2 sets of strings. This is the set of strings. One of them was to go to drop C. Yeah, so it's kind of like down a little bit. This is down a full, down from a, yeah, a lot. So these strings are 10.5 to 48. I think the other set of strings set up putting this were something along the lines of 11 to 52 or maybe 12 to 52 type thing, just to cope with the floppiness. I told them the strings. I had it out in a live stream a couple of weeks ago. I mean, it has been a couple of weeks I've had this. It's disgusting, but I was away all last week. And it is quite a floppy string. I don't think it's overly floppy though. I think it really depends. I think when I showed him that video, I think he was a bit kind of, I'll just put that one into drop C as well, or drop C sharp. I'm going to have to check the message to see what it was he actually doing. But it depends what you're trying to do. I mean, I moved on to C sharp, not drop C sharp on the bass. And it's only a 32-inch scale bass in the Black Sabbath band. And for the first half hour, yep, the strings were pretty floppy. Then I started really liking it. It meant you could bend things crazy. So, I mean, you can bend crazy amounts because there's quite a low string tension. Yeah, again, there was me playing an E chord. It's not an E chord, you've got to play. That's the relative E chord. I'm not very good with the drop tuning thing. I mean, I can kind of play on the one string sort of thing. Well, basically, you know what I mean, for those sort of riffs. But when it actually comes to trying to incorporate it into something else, it's something I should probably learn. Eventually, one day I'll do it. I think one day I'll probably end up doing alternate tunings as well at some point. I suppose drop D is a sort of alternate tuning. And maybe even other alternate tunings. And maybe one day I'll like reverb and effects and stuff. Not now. So I'm using the wee Laney 3C15 3x12 cabinet and the twin note Pi fuzz because it's the sort of most metally of the pedals I've got. I'll try sticking on a bit of not a very fast drum kit, is it? I think people use a lot of different tunings for like inspiration, which I sort of get. You know, it's like I just in a lucky situation where I can buy a new guitar and that gives me inspiration, rather than having my normal guitar trying to tune it different or trying to use a different pedal, which maybe just makes you write a slightly different riff. You get a slightly different approach. So that's a neck pickup split. Anytime I go onto the low string, I'll be off more than normal. Chickened out. It's no longer drop A. It's now just in B standard. I do have a thing for white guitars though. It's just, I think with a white guitar, it can be any colour depending on what kind of light bulb you shine on it. So this one's very ice whitey today because it's kind of the colour of the light today. Actually I noticed that too when I was down last week. Off at a tangent. The light's different colour when you go down south. It's a different... light's different. I don't know, I suppose it's going through more atmosphere or less atmosphere or something like that, but you kind of, everyone seems an awful lot more yellowy maybe, whereas here it's more whitey. Yeah, as a byproduct. Yeah, so this is it might be a through neck. It's definitely, you can't even, yeah, it's like a really deep neck scoop. It's actually got an extra scoop. Does that scoop there actually make... Nah. I mean, okay, it probably makes the guitar slightly lighter, but it's like, you know, you see these scoops And you think when the Washburn Wing's a great one for that, you look at that, oh, that'd be great for access. It doesn't actually. I don't know how you'd be playing to actually get your hand into that scoop. You know, it's like my hand doesn't fit. I wouldn't be. It doesn't make any difference to me. Actually, I think my pal Cameron's got one of these as well, and I think my pal Dolly's got one as well. It's like one of those guitars that it's new metal. I don't like it. So I mean, just because I don't like the look of it. Well, I do. I mean, I quite like it now. It's just not really one I've looked at. Actually, something I want to do. I keep seeing a picture on one of the Facebook sites. I don't think it could possibly work with this one, but it's like, see this bit here. It fits. There's a picture you always see that's like a Gibson headstock that fits. It's like almost exactly the inverse of that, but I don't think it is. I'm going to have to try it just because I've got a Gibson. Now this is going to be quite a difficult thing to do. How am I going to do that? Can I sit that on the ground and can you see it? You can, right? My God, that's dusty. And then if I can kind of, without dropping or hitting it, yeah. So I didn't think about this. So it does that fit perfectly onto that? See, it doesn't. So there must be another model of Gibson or another model of Schecter. It's sort of similar, but it's not like a. I'm pretty sure the picture I've seen on Facebook, it's like a total perfect interlock. You know, it's like you can imagine just having a plank of wood and then cutting the thing out, and then bada, you've got a Gibson headstock, and this side you've got a Schecter. So it's not quite like that. So whether somebody's doctored, photoshopped it or actually doctored one of the guitars to make that actually fit. So there you go. A myth gone, assuming. Although in saying that, there definitely are different Gibson headstocks. When I was doing that video with Scott when he was doing his SG and his Les Paul, one of them seemed to have a really big headstock, and it's like I think they were both sort of about the same year. One of them had a much fatter one. I can't remember which one it was. It was much wider than this headstock, so it's not even one shape. I think even Fenders are like that as well. I know that you get like obviously you get your sort of Ritchie Blackmore, the sort of 70s one, which has got like a bigger bit on the bottom. You can't quite see it. So this would be like the sort of the 60s or the 50s headstock, whereas a 70s one that kind of comes out here a bit more. I think the thinking was there that if they put more wood here, you could see the Fender logo easier on TV. But I think there's an awful lot more variations than that. Those are the sort of main ones, but I think everyone's, every few years, it's just not quite the same shape. They just kind of maybe get somebody else to draw it. It's just not quite identical. So I mean, this is really good. It's just, now that it's not in, I suppose to have a look and listen to it clean, I mean, it's like, I think that's sacrilege, but... Both pickups clean from my favourite Telecaster sound. Yep, I mean... Actually, another thing I noticed, I remember this having had EMGs before, see if I use the other input on my amp, which is the low input, which is for active pickups. It sounds an awful lot more like a normal guitar rather than being an active guitar. So there must be a reason for having two inputs. But I remember back with a Godin I had before. Not as loud, which obviously means it's not as good, but it's not as loud. But I think all that goes out the window as soon as you're using distortion pedals, though, because you're no longer putting a higher signal in because you're using the pedals boosting. It depends what you got the pedal set to. It definitely does sound like a much less jangly when you're using the but it really just is distortion. Okay, I'll just do the intonation. It's slightly out because I put on. Not far out. Yeah, so this was going to be this was going to be the first half of the video, then I was going to put it into the drop C. What's it drop? Yeah, drop C. So instead of being down 4 steps, it's down 2. So I really thought about what I was going to say before I did this video, but I've done it now. So I'll see how Ian thinks about this sounding, and then maybe he was. I think he kind of chickened out a bit, because I could just put both of them in the drop C or drop C sharp. Drop C. So it's down. Drop C would be down a whole step, yeah, as opposed to being down 2 whole steps. No, but I mean, nice guitar, I'd have to say. I'm not very good at. I don't have a very huge range when what I play. I can't just play the same thing all the time. So it's like I don't really listen to anything apart from baby metal. Maybe I should be trying to play baby metal on it. They're just too hard. But that's really the only music I listen to that I think uses, 7-string guitars and any sort of droppy or any sort of down tuniness. And that's one of the reasons I like them, because it's kind of like a sort of. Oh, I kind of like the idea of the sort of the really extreme heavy metal, but it's a bit too much for me. Whereas like with baby metal, you get like sort of an ABBA type chorus on the top, and it only does the really heavy riff for a couple of bars, and then it does something completely different, and it goes back to it. And you end up liking it. Whereas if it's just a heavy riff, it's like I think my ears get tired. I think that's one of the reasons it's so good going to like the Download Festival or something like that, because especially during the day, the bands have got like half an hour or 40-minute set or whatever it is, so they're putting out all their songs that sound slightly different. And 40 minutes rocking, that's within my attention span. Whereas if I'm watching one of your, I can't even think of one to name, 5 Finger Death Punch or something like that. I can't remember what they sounded like. I did see them. They tend to put it up when they're on for like an hour or something like that, or you've got like a full gig. My brain can't deal with it a wee bit. Does that make sense? Yeah. So Schecter Hellraiser. Maybe it does have a slightly Zakk Wylde. Maybe that's what I should have been trying to play on it. It does have a sort of Zakk Wylde vibe going on about it. Maybe it's just the EMG pickups kind of makes me think that, and the fact it's white, sort of. And cool fret markings as well, kind of gothic, starry type things. Yeah. So rock on. I'm going to get on to the Jackson one, which is similar but completely different to this one. Catch you later. And press the button properly.